What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the RabidMining YouTube channel, and today I'm going to take this Ipollo ETC Mini, the KD Box Pro, Mini Doge Miner Pro, as well as the Ipollo V1 Eth Miner, and I want to attempt to run all of these off a single server power supply. So because each one does require its own cable currently, I do want to free everything up, and essentially if I can get everything running on a single server power supply, that's only one plug to go into my PDU up here versus, 1, 2, 3 that I got going here, plus 4 when I bring that Eth Miner over here. So that'll free up 4 of these C13 PDU plugs and just have to use one coming in to give me some more slots if I do need to use something else in the future. Now there is one thing I'm kind of curious about, is these little KD Box Pro over there and this Mini Doge Pro, they only use a single 6-pin, and it's quite a thick cable that's coming into here, and they're using like 230 watts off a single 6-pin. Now that Mini ETC Classic Miner down there, it only uses like 135 watts, but it does use 2 6-pins, so that's like a safer route to go. So the one thing that concerns me again is these two Mini Doge miners, or one's the KD and one's the Mini Doge, but these little boxes here use 230 watts off a single 6-pin. But you know what? I'm still going to try it out anyway. So I'm also going to have to figure out what PSU I do want to use. So 230 plus 230 plus 135 and 240 watts equals 835 watts that I am going to need here. So we're going to need 835 watts. So I am coming into our motherboard PSU breakout board type of boneyard here, and I got to find something, and I think I have a 1500 watt here somewhere. So this is a Platinum 750 watt from Dell. We have a HP Server 1200 watt, and yes, this is a 94% 1500 watt server PSU. So these HP server power supplies, their peak efficiency rating is around 50%. So this would get me as close to 50% as possible. I'll probably be around 55 or something, but overall, we'll be at pretty much top efficiency rating running this 1500 watt with that 835. So I'm just gonna set this up here for now. We're gonna have to try to find ourselves a breakout board, which one we want to use. Now, if you are looking for any miner or anything that you do ever see in my crypto mining basement, power supplies, server PSUs, whatever, I do have links in the description for anything I ever do talk about. So for breakout board selection, we got to figure out how many plugs we actually need. So we need 2 here, 1 in each of those, so that's 4, and 2 for this V1 Mini. So we're gonna need 6 plugs for this, and I'm gonna go with the X11 amp. Now I could go with a regular X11, but I wanna use the amp because it will dictate how much power we're actually using at 100% efficiency. So it's gonna give us an amp reading at the bottom, and at the top here will tell us how many volts we're utilizing. So if we times our amps by our volts, it will tell us how much power all of these are using throughout the breakout board at 100% efficiency. And then you just got to kind of calculate the efficiency of the PSU you are using. In this case, we're using a 94% gold, so it shouldn't be too much more. But we're going to get a nice idea of how much these things are actually drawing as a whole. Okay, so I do have 6 cables here. I'm just going to plug them all in and get everything ready. So we're just going to do that right quick. They'll get all in a big tangled mess. So I'm just going to plug all these into the breakout board. Make sure they're all in nice and tight. That way I can just plug everything in. I want to try and do this as quick as possible for the least amount of downtime as we can get. Alright, we got 2. Let's go straight across. Like, it doesn't really matter which way they go. You want to kind of keep the face open so that I can see all the watts and volts and everything that's actually going through here, or I suppose amps, because this does amps, not watts. The watt calculation you have to do on your own. We got 4 in there. Let's go 5, and number 6, the last one. Now this next step I like to always do as well is I like to make sure that this is not on or off. Now these do retain their power state, so if I unplug this a long time ago when it was on. As soon as I plug it in, it's going to be on again. So I want to plug in my server power supply into the PDU here and make sure it doesn't turn on. And if it does, I'm just going to turn it off because I want to make sure it's off. That way when I hit the on button, everything turns on and I don't get surprised as soon as I plug it in or something. So I did unplug one of the miners, and now I'm just going to see, as you can see, the light's off. So this was remained off. So if I hit the on switch, that will give us some power there. We can see our wattage 12.3 volts and 0 amps because there's nothing plugged in yet. So I'm going to turn this off. That way it remains off. I'm going to plug this into all my miners, bring that V1 over, and then hopefully this all works out for the best. Okay guys, so there is a little bit of technical difficulties on this Ipollo right now. So it looks like these are in, but they aren't. Because these are a little bit fatter on the clips, it won't push in all the way. The metal bracket here is catching the corner, so it won't allow it to go in. So I could simply, as you can see, look at that, I can just pull these out. They're not in all the way, so that's a loose connection due to the fact it's hitting the very core. You see the little tabs there sticking out the side? That will not go in. So I could break these off and then probably get it in, but then that's kind of your safety feature if you go to put these on GPUs or something later on. So that'd be a bad idea. So I do not want to do that on this Ipollo. Maybe if I had some different cables with skinnier clips here, it might work. Now the other end that plugs into the breakout board, that does fit in here and clips in just fine. So it is these ends here that don't work, and it is a 6-pin. You can see this is the 8-pin side, the proper side to put into here. So I'm not going to use these, and I don't have any skinnier cables to utilize this. So this whole experiment is already a wash. So Ipollo Mini ETC Classic Miner is a no-go, at least with the cables I do have. But let's see if these would at least work on the Goldshell. I'm going to put everything back to normal at the end of this video. I'm not going to use this anymore because I want everything back the way it was so nothing shorts out or something. But let's at least see if these fit into these KD Box Pro and the Mini Doge Miner now. So the KD Box Pro as well as the Mini Doge Pro, they clipped in just fine. They got a lot more space there, so there's no issues clipping them in. I heard it snap and everything, so we're all good there. So I'm going to plug this in at least so that we know if it'll fire these things up or not. And then I'm just going to put everything back to default. All right guys, so here we go. I'm about to hit the power button. Let's see if anything melts. Power on. And the fans are spinning. It's starting to do some stuff, or we're going to get some lights. We got some lights happening. So these are beginning to fire up. Let's let these run for a couple minutes, see if anything happens. Don't quite have any readings going out yet because it has to boot up and start mining. So I'll come back to it in a couple minutes once it does finally start doing its thing. Okay, so they're kind of ramped up. The numbers started spiking. It went 1, 2, 3, and then it just went like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to like 34 that we're sitting at. So 34 amps at 12.2 volts. Let's just have a look here. 34, let me see here, 34 times, hanging out at 414 watts right now. And then you got to calculate the efficiency of the PSU, which is, who knows, times that by 94%. So we're losing about 6% here. So you're going to have to add like 6% extra. That's if we were at that peak efficiency. Right now we're not, but we're slightly under it. But you can give it a rough idea of what you think we're using. So not too bad here. It is working on the Goldshell boxes, but too bad I could not get it to work on this. And I just didn't want to do it. We probably could get it to work. We stuffed it in or broke those clips off. But I wouldn't recommend anybody to do that. So I'm not going to do that. But, you know, it is a possibility of an option you could do. But we can use server power supplies on these. It does save you a little bit of money if you don't want to purchase these boxes with the power supply because you already have maybe breakout boards and power supplies yourself. So, you know, that's one way to save money when purchasing these items, but this is just one thing to keep an eye on. It will not work here without different plugs. You're going to have to look for the skinny tabs to fit inside of these things. And the Eth Miner, the V1, it's the same as this. It just won't fit. Well guys, I do kind of hate ending videos on a sad note. Our experiment was a failure. I am unable to at least run this on a server power supply with the cables I have. So there may be other cables I can use that will work on those miners, but for now it won't work. Everything is back the way it was. I do want to point one thing out. when I pulled these miners off, or these power supplies off these two KD boxes and that Mini Gold Pro or Mini Doge Pro, these things were hot, very, very hot. And I have heard of people burning out the Goldshell power supplies, and I can see why. Those things were burning hot. I could barely touch them. I had to let them cool down for a couple minutes and then carry them over. But yeah, they were very, very warm. So I really wish I could get that server power supply rolling here, because I believe it'll probably run cooler than those power supplies. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out. Thank you for watching my video, and if you haven't seen one of these, be sure to check them out. And if you already seen them, maybe you missed something, might have to watch it one more time. And if you just let it play in the background, that's all right as well. I do try to live stream every weekend as well as every couple days during the week, so be sure to be subscribed so you don't miss that. As always, have a great day.